Catch cans are everywhere. People swear by them. They drain brown sludge and assume they just saved their engine. But what if I told you the part that actually decides engine longevity isn't a catch can at all? It's something you replace every 5,000 to 10,000 miles and almost never upgrade. Today, I'll show you why oil filtration matters more than most bolt-on oil mods, and why the catch can conversation is usually backwards. Here's the belief everyone repeats. If oil is getting into the intake, that must be what's killing engines. It sounds logical, but in real ownership, engines don't usually die because oil vapor touched the intake. They die because metal touches metal where it shouldn't. Bearings, cam journals, timing components, turbo shafts. Those parts don't fail all at once. They wear down, quietly, over tens of thousands of miles. And that's where the mistake starts. Catch cans look like protection. Oil filters feel like maintenance. One is visible, one is boring. Only one decides whether an engine survives long term. To understand why this matters, you have to separate two systems people constantly mash together. The first is the oil circulation system. Oil is pumped under pressure from the sump. It goes through the filter, then straight into the most sensitive parts of the engine. Bearings, cam lobes, lifters, timing chains, turbochargers, before returning to the pan. This system runs constantly. Every second the engine is alive, cold starts, hot runs, full throttle, idle. The second system is the PCV system. That system exists to deal with blow-by gases, combustion pressure that slips past the piston rings, and the oil vapor that comes with it. Low pressure, intermittent flow, different routing depending on engine design. Here's the reversal most people miss. If the oil filter fails, wear accelerates immediately. If a catch can does nothing, the engine usually keeps running just fine. That doesn't make catch cans useless, it makes them secondary. Now let's talk about oil filters, because this is where engines actually live or die. Every mile you drive creates microscopic metal. You never see it, you never hear it, but it's always there. That debris circulates through the engine over and over again. The oil filter is the only thing stopping it from becoming liquid sandpaper. And cheap filters don't usually fail in obvious ways. They fail quietly. Less filter media, weaker internal support, thinner center tubes, bypass valves that open sooner than you think. When bypass opens, oil pressure is still there. The dash light stays off. The engine feels normal. But filtration is gone. Unfiltered oil flows straight through the engine to keep pressure up, and every mile after that quietly shortens engine life. This is why engines don't suddenly die at 120,000 miles. They just feel tired, loose, noisy, down on compression. The damage was done years earlier. Here's where incentives creep in. Catch cans are easy to sell. They're visible, they bolt on, they collect dirty fluid you can point at and say, "See, it's working." A $40 Amazon catch can or a $180 Mishimoto looks great on camera. You drain it once, show the brown sludge, and the content makes itself. Oil filters don't work like that. Nobody posts a photo of clean oil flowing through a Wix XP or a Mobil 1 filter. Nobody films themselves choosing a $15 filter over a $6 one and feels clever doing it. So online advice drifts toward what shows results, not what prevents damage. What looks active beats what quietly does its job. And that flips priorities. People start managing vapor before protecting lubrication. They fix the mess before fixing the wear. That order feels smart, but mechanically it's backwards. If you want a simple rule before we go deeper, it's this. If you haven't optimized the oil loop, don't touch the PCV system yet. That alone will save more engines than any bolt-on mod. If you want more buyer-proof car truth with zero hype, subscribe. This channel exists to help you avoid expensive, smart mistakes. Now let's slow down and talk about what oil filters actually do, and why cheap versus expensive is the wrong way to think about them. Oil filters aren't just screens. They're pressure-managed wear controllers. Inside every filter are 4 critical elements. The outer shell, how much pressure it can survive on a cold start. The filter media, what particle sizes it actually traps, and how much debris it can hold before flow is restricted. The bypass valve, when filtration is sacrificed to keep oil moving, and the anti-drain back valve, whether oil is there instantly when you turn the key instead of draining back overnight. Cheap filters cut corners somewhere. Sometimes it's thinner media with less surface area. Sometimes it's weaker internal support that can deform under pressure. Sometimes it's valve quality that changes behavior after a few heat cycles. The result isn't dramatic failure. It's earlier bypass on cold mornings, highway merges, hard acceleration, long uphill pulls. Every bypass event sends unfiltered oil straight through the engine. Do that occasionally and the engine survives. Do it every commute, every winter start, every oil interval stretched just a little too long, and wear compounds quietly. That's why engines that always had oil changes still wear out early. The oil wasn't the problem, the filtration was. Now contrast that with what catch cans actually do. Catch cans intercept oil vapor before it enters the intake. On some engines, especially direct injection engines, this can reduce intake valve deposits over time. That's real. That's valid. That's not nothing. But here's the ownership reality nobody advertises. Catch cans don't run constantly. They don't see consistent flow. They depend on vacuum conditions, PCV routing, and how you actually drive. Short trips, long idles, boost, cold starts. And they add failure points. Hoses that harden, fittings that loosen, seals that seep. And a can that quietly fills with oil and water you forget to drain. This is where people get fooled. They see fluid in the can and assume it worked. But that doesn't tell you what still made it through or what happened the last time the can was full, sloshing, or partially frozen. In cold climates, water vapor condenses inside the can. That water can freeze. That can block flow. At that point, you've traded a slow cleanliness benefit for real crankcase pressure risk. Pushed seals, oil leaks, even turbo issues. Again, this doesn't make catch cans bad. It makes them conditional. This is where the cheap versus expensive argument shows its limits. A well-designed oil filter protects the engine every second it runs. A perfectly engineered catch can only helps when conditions align. One is life support, the other is housekeeping. That hierarchy matters. Think about how cars are actually used. Cold starts in the morning, short trips to school or work, stop-and-go traffic, occasional hard acceleration when you need to merge or pass. The oil filter is working through all of it, every start, every mile, every heat cycle. If it's marginal, wear is happening whether you notice it or not. A catch can, on the other hand, might only see meaningful flow during certain drive conditions. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it does almost nothing. And when budgets are limited, and they always are, spending on the part that protects the engine all the time beats spending on one that helps some of the time. That's not anti-mod, that's priority. Let's talk time horizon. At 20,000 miles, you won't notice the difference. At 40,000, maybe not. At 60,000, still subtle. But after 80,000, 100,000, 120,000 miles, that's when filtration decisions show up. Timing change noise you didn't have before. Cam lobes that don't quite look right. Turbo shafts with just enough play to start leaking oil. Bearing clearances that are still within spec but only barely. None of those failures trace back to one bad day. They don't come from one missed oil change or one hard pull. They come from thousands of cold starts, thousands of bypass events, thousands of moments where unfiltered oil was allowed through to keep pressure up. And by the time you hear it, feel it, or pay for it, the damage is already done. Most of it started quietly, in the oil loop. So where do catch cans actually belong? After you've already done the boring stuff right. Good oil. A filter matched to your interval, climate, and load. Consistent changes, done on time, not when it's convenient. Only then does it make sense to ask the next set of questions. Is this engine actually prone to intake deposits, or is it just forum noise? Does my PCV routing pull through a can during the way I really drive? Commutes, errands, traffic? Not just ideal conditions. Am I willing to check it, drain it, and service it, not once, but for years? If yes, great. A catch can may reduce long-term buildup and slow one specific wear pattern. If not, skip it, because adding complexity without discipline never ends well in mechanical systems. Cars don't fail because they're simple. They fail because small systems were added and then forgotten. This is why experienced owners think differently. They don't chase the most visible upgrade. They protect the invisible systems first. They don't ask, what mod should I add? They ask, what wears every time I turn the key? They spend money where failure compounds, not where dirt collects. On filtration that works in winter, on parts that see pressure on cold starts, on maintenance that doesn't photograph well but pays off years later. That's why high-mileage cars owned by careful people often look boring under the hood. No shiny add-ons, no trendy hardware, just systems that were protected consistently, quietly, and on schedule. And that mindset, not any single product, is what keeps engines alive past 200,000 miles. Before we wrap up, here's a quick bonus. 3 oil filters I actually recommend, and why. Not because they're perfect, but because they're built for real ownership, not short intervals and hope. First, Wix XP. This is a solid choice if you drive hard, tow, or live somewhere with real winters. It's usually around $12 to $15, has strong internal support, and holds up well under pressure. No hype, just consistent construction that doesn't panic on cold starts. Second, Mobil 1 Extended Performance. This one makes sense if you run synthetic oil and longer intervals. Expect to pay $14 to $18, but you're getting high-capacity media and reliable valves that behave the same at 2,000 miles and 10,000 miles. It's boring in the best way. Third, Bosch Distance Plus. This is a good middle ground if availability matters. Typically $10 to $14, widely stocked and consistently built. Not flashy, not fragile, just dependable filtration for normal people who want engines to last. This isn't about brand loyalty. It's about choosing filters that match how long and how hard you drive, so wear stays slow and predictable. And that's the whole point of this video. Protect the oil loop first. Let's recap with clarity. Protect the oil loop first. Choose filtration that matches how long and hard you drive. Treat bypass events as wear, not convenience, not normal, not harmless. If you drive short trips, cold mornings matter. If you extend oil intervals, filter capacity matters. If you tow, commute, idle, or push the engine when it's not fully warm, filtration quality matters even more. Then, and only then, decide whether PCV optimization makes sense for your engine, your climate, and your habits. Not because a forum said so, not because a mod looked smart, but because the failure mod actually applies to you. Problems while invisible wear keeps stacking up mile after mile. Next time you see the oil upgrade, stop and ask one question before you buy it. Which system am I actually touching? That single question will save you more money than any mod ever will. If you want more ownership decisions grounded in reality, not hype, not rankings or affiliate noise, check out the next video. Because the most expensive car mistakes don't come from neglect. They come from confidence pointed in the wrong direction.